Isaiah chapter 5 verses 1 to 2. There was a story of a man who had a vineyard on a rich and fertile hill, who plowed the land, cleared the stones, and planted the best vines on it. And this man waited for the day of harvest, hoping to harvest sweet grapes. But unfortunately, the grapes that grew there were bitter. That was what the New Living Translation called it. But the Amplified Version said it only produced worthless ones. That was the story of God, the owner of the vineyard, and Israel, the vines he planted. For every child of God, there is an assignment and a task that you must carry out. There are some investment that God has made in you that serves as a pointer to the nature of your divine assignment in his kingdom. Despite the investment that God has made in us, despite the investment that God has lodged in the lives of many of his children, the devil has succeeded in deceiving his children out of the Lord's house, and they are now making use of those investments outside the Lord's house and not for the expansion of God's kingdom, implying that they are using God's gifts in a strange land. While some are left in church, they are still in church, but the kind of service they are rendering to God are worthless, sour to the taste of God. Nadab and Abihu were priests in the house of God, just like you and I. Because 1 Peter 2:9 made us to understand that we are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a peculiar people who are called out of darkness to his marvelous light to show forth his praises. Nadab and Abihu, they were privileged to see God and they lived to tell it. Exodus 24:9-11. But there was an instruction that God gave them, the priest. God said, you shall not offer unauthorized incense on it. That was how English Standard Version stated it. But in Leviticus 10:1-2, Nadab and Abihu reshaped God's commandment to suit themselves. And they decided to offer a strange fire, which God has not commanded. And their judgment was immediate destruction by fire. Now, what are those things you have introduced into your life as you render service unto God that is making the product of your service bitter in his mouth? What are those things that you have introduced into your life as you are rendering service unto God that is making your service unacceptable, worthless in the sight of God? Some would rise from the bed of fornication and adultery and dive into the house of God to render service unto him. Some will appear in church in full regalia of greed for selfish gains, and they will enter the church and render service unto God. The judgment of such characters is still in Isaiah chapter 5:6. It says, I will make it a waste. That is the land. That was what the owner of the vineyard said. He said, I will make it a waste. He will turn it into a desert. That is God announcing his departure from his people. Though the church will still have the beautiful structures, but spiritually, it will be a spiritual desert. And it went ahead to say, it shall not be pruned or hoed. That means God will leave the church unattended to. He will leave his people unattended to, because of the character they have exhibited, because of the kind of service they are rendering unto him. And it went ahead to say, and briars and thorns shall grow up. So in addition to the worthless vines that annoyed God, Sister Briar and Brother Thorns would spring up in church, and their services will cause more havoc and pain in the house of the Lord. He said, I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. That is a sealed heaven. Prayers not ascending, blessings not descending. That is the warning that God has for his children. It is for you now to sit down and begin to think that what kind of service am I rendering in the house of God? What have I introduced into my life that is making my service unto God unacceptable, even though it is acceptable in the sight of men? The book of 2 Chronicles chapter 7 verse 14. It says, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and will heal their land. So if we can sit down and humble ourselves and pray and seek the face of God and turn from our wicked ways, God is ready to forgive us. He's ready to return into that vineyard again. And so I would like us to pray this prayer that, Father, Whatever I have introduced into my life that is making my service to you unacceptable, that is making my service to you worthless, that is making my service to you taste bitter in your mouth, Lord, have mercy on me today. Take such things away from me. Take such characters away from me in the name of Jesus. And you still go ahead and pray that, Father, prune me till my service to you is worthy in your sight. Prune me till my service to you is worthy and acceptable in your sight. In the name of Jesus. God bless you.